So welcome in everybody for another episode of What's New Wednesday. Last week we had not a whole lot going on. We were just basically speculating on token allocation and what that means for the token price last week. But this week, Leaderboard 3 started back up again. We got crafting events going. We've got a whole Medium article to go through about what's new with all the crafting stuff. So lots of stuff to go over. So as we always do, we're going to take a look at the token price and then we're going to go through the Big Times Medium article. And we're going to discuss all the changes for Leaderboard 3. And then we're also going to talk about the crafting events that have started since the leaderboard started. Yes, plural crafting events. And we are also going to talk a little bit about the recent slump in hourglass prices and kind of just theorize why that might be happening. And while we're also doing that, we're going to check out one final thing. Big Time just posted something to Twitter that's really exciting. So we'll talk about that briefly. So first things first, we're going to go through the token price. We go through the token price every week and we've seen some price action that was kind of predicted. We had an idea of what to expect here. The week before that, we were feeling a little bit, not so bearish because we were looking at this RSI and this sort of token price. So we bounced off of, about the 30 cent area. And then I figured if we can break over 50 cents, then we might see some higher token price. But look, we're denied that week and we were denied again the week after. And so last Wednesday, we saw the token price go down below the sort of like 40 cent sort of support line that it was trying to create there. And now it's sort of bouncing around the 30 cents. So we haven't really had enough buy pressure for the token price to really break above 50 cents. And we still haven't really quite yet. Last week, we kind of talked about how the leaderboard might be affecting that because in two ways. It could create a whole bunch of sell pressure because people who are getting their leaderboard winnings are going to sell the token. But it's most likely that it'll actually be the opposite because we were talking about last week how if you want to be in the top 20, top 100 really in big time, you pretty much need to be buying big time tokens, especially if you want to be in the top 10, top 20. So we probably will see quite a bit of buy pressure start ramping up here as the third leaderboard takes hold. I'm anticipating seeing some buy pressure from the big crafters who need more than 1 million tokens just to craft one transcendent, let alone a unique, which is probably close to 2 million when you really count it up. So I do expect to see some more buy pressure in the next week or two. Like if we look back here at this giant pump, when did this happen, right? December 1st. When did the leaderboard really start taking hold? The last one ended November 11th. It took like a week for that to show up. So maybe like November the 19th. And then we had maybe 2 weeks before we saw a lot of buy pressure. And I think a good chunk of this probably is just from like speculators in the larger crypto market buying a gaming token. But we also probably did see a good chunk of accumulation from players who were planning on crafting through the second leaderboard there. Is that going to happen again? I don't know. We can't say for sure, but what I can say is that right now the daily RSI is in a good range to start doing your own research and maybe dollar cost averaging in, doing stuff like that. And the MACD, once again, we had a small little push into the green, like I was saying. That's good, but there wasn't enough buy pressure to maintain it. So this is also kind of pretty bullish looking as far as like maybe not so bad the time to buy. I don't think the token price is going to go below 30 cents, guys. I could be wrong, but everything here says we are accumulating and we are probably going to see some price action that's pretty positive in the next week or two. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. There's that old adage, people are fearful, be greedy, and when people are greedy, be fearful. Now is probably the time to start being a bit greedy, but do your own research and number go up, number go down. You never really know. So there's the token price, guys. I'm kind of a little bit bullish right now on it. Honestly, I feel like we're in a pretty good place. We might see it crab a little bit more, but if it's anything like last leaderboard, it was like 2 weeks after the leaderboard started before we saw a big sort of rally there. So maybe we might see $1 again. Maybe we might bounce off of 50 cents again. Like it really depends on how much buy pressure we end up getting. I think it'll start from people accumulating for the leaderboard, and then we might see retail investors hop in once they see the price action moving above their sort of like moving averages. We're going to move on to talking about the Medium article that Big Time put out about Leaderboard 3 starting up. So we'll take a a look at that together, guys. First things first, they published an article that's first detailing the results of Leaderboard 2. Congrats to the top 5: Morkai, Whaley Shark, Epic BL, Metaverse X, and King Parent. Honestly, this was kind of a little bit of a shock or surprise for me. I didn't expect the final lineup end up like this. You know, Morkai and Whaley Shark were so neck and neck. That one was a tough one, but I actually thought Metaverse X was going to be 3rd place. I thought Epic BL was going to be 4th, and I didn't see King Parent showing up in the top 5 at all, because he was in like the top 20, but not really that close to top 5. So he must have had some really crazy crafts. Just goes to show that you really don't know how the leaderboard is going to shake up until the final audit's been done. Me personally, I gained over 200,000 leaderboard points, but I went down 80 leaderboard spots. So I went from like 150 to 160-ish to 180. And, you know, it's still in the top 200, still stayed in my bracket, but, you know, a lot of people didn't. They weren't able to maintain their rank, their tier. So, you know, my condolences to you. Kind of sucks, but better luck next time. Okay, so leaderboard result, post-review audit. The one big thing that I noticed here is, I think a big part of the reason why the leaderboard points have been difficult for them to manage is because Big Time has probably been like taking data from all sorts of different databases throughout their sort of their back end there, and they're grabbing data from different data silos, and those data silos haven't really been talking to each other. But what they've done now is they've added redundancies so that, yeah, they have these data silos, but they're talking to each other and they like validate against each other. So that's going to be a huge update and bonus for everybody moving forward, as far as being able to keep track of their leaderboard points and see directly, like, there was a crafting event, I crafted this rare item and I got this many points. I think that'll be a lot more clear now, so that's really great to see. Reward distribution plan, once again, we're going to get 16 waves of Big Time token allotments. The cool thing is that these Big Time token allotments start January 26th, which is tomorrow, and they will be overlapping for 8 weeks with Leaderboard 1. And another cool thing is that Leaderboard 2 is going to be overlapping with Leaderboard 1, and then once that's over, I think that we might see Leaderboard 2 overlapping with Leaderboard 3. So we'll probably be getting double points for quite a while now, and it'll kind of peter out near, like, I don't know, April or something like that. So that's really exciting. We're going to be getting plenty of Big Time tokens. What are players going to be doing with that? You know, that's a big question. Are people going to be dumping all of their Big Time tokens, their double tokens, into crafting, or are they going to start taking profit? We might see that affect token price. We might not. We might see that affect leaderboard movement. I think that's more likely, that some people who have been kind of in the top 300 or 500 now even might be moving up closer to the top 100 or, you know, top 20 or whatever. So that could be pretty cool to see. Referral points have their own leaderboard now, which is good. A lot of people were kind of, not everybody was stoked about having referral points on the leaderboards for leaderboard 1 and 2. So Big Time listened, they adjusted, they removed referral points from the 3rd leaderboard, and they're going to create a separate leaderboard for that. They haven't really released any other details about it, so more details TBD, and we'll see what happens there. Reward tiers are the same except for one minor change. Tier 3 no longer is getting 10,000 Big Time tokens. They're getting 8,000, so 2,000 Big Time tokens have been removed. And what that will end up looking like is that's like 1.25 million Big Time tokens in total, 1.4. And I expect that this was done to create some Big Time tokens for the referral leaderboard. But thank you, Tier 3, for sharing your Big Time tokens and helping referral leaderboard winners have a prize. So that's my guess. I could be wrong. Maybe they just didn't want you guys to get 10,000 anymore and they just took it out. There's a big change here, and it has to do with crafting events, guys. So if you are crafting during a crafting event, and let's say that crafting event has, it costs 40% less premium currencies to craft, and you get double leaderboard points per craft. They changed it now so that if you are trying to get those leaderboard points, you have to complete that craft within the crafting event window. You can't just start it within the window. So you can start it and get the 40% reduction in premium currency, but you won't get the double leaderboard points unless it completes in that window. So I hope that kind of makes sense. This is just to make sure that people aren't gaming the system as usual. Leaderboard points per action are pretty much all the same. Obviously, the referral point no longer included, and they've added some new things. So So this is really cool because I feel like these new additions to leaderboard points is a great way to try and reward people for gameplay instead of just for crafting and running prestiges. So now on top of running prestiges, you have daily and weekly in-game bounties. When you complete those, you get medium points. So that's not bad. So make sure you guys are doing your dailies and weeklies. And then we also have some new additions here. They've got weekly events. So season 7-day challenges, which range from low to very high points. And we'll kind of get into this later because we're going to look at the first one that they've put out. But, you know, the low points will be basically like completing daily bounties and in-game actions like that. And the very high points will be to do with crafting. That's my suspicion we'll see throughout the leaderboard. So we'll see. And the same thing with seasonal milestones. We haven't really seen one of those yet, but I expect it to be similar to the 7-day one, just like over a longer period of time and larger amounts of point allotments overall. And then they also have this thing that they're mentioning called Midweek Madness. We don't know anything about Midweek Madness. All they say is sharing more details about this soon. We haven't seen anything yet in their Discord since they've posted this Medium article, so we'll just have to wait and see. But that's pretty exciting. So that's the Medium article. Now let's jump into just going over what crafting events we have seen so far since the leaderboard has come out. Okay, so crafting events. January 19th, leaderboard kicked off with the Crafting Blitz event. This gave you a 40% reduction in cosmetic shards required to craft, regardless of the rarities. So that would be super awesome, especially if you're crafting like high rarities with, you know, infused and all that sort of high rarity cosmetics. And you get double workshop XP. It ended on January 23rd, so that was Tuesday. And we saw a lot of movement on the leaderboard because we saw the leaderboard get implemented basically with, not with this crafting event, but a couple days later. So we were kind of seeing the leaderboard points trickling there, and now we're seeing things really sort of going full steam. So it's a great way to start off the leaderboard, in my opinion. A lot of people were crafting, getting ready for some big crafts. I personally crafted a lot of commons. I should have crafted some high rarities, but I mean, I didn't really have enough commons and higher rarity stuff to craft. So it's just, yeah, getting ready. So January 23rd, they posted. That's when the leaderboard came out. They made a little announcement about it. And that same day is when they announced the first and newest weekly challenge. As mentioned in the Medium article, these are weekly challenges, and you kind of see how it's broken down here, right? So you have challenge 1 is complete 6 daily bounties. You get 1,000 leaderboard points. That would be the low, sort of low to very high, right? So this is low. Complete 6 daily bounties, really easy to do, and we have until the 28th to do it. Now, challenge 2, complete the craft of the following cosmetic weapons: 1 hatchling hammer 2 uncommon, and 1 titan struck hammer 2 uncommon. And by the way that they've worded this, it implies that you need to craft both. That's what I'm gathering. I'm assuming that'd be 5,000 leaderboard points on top of the leaderboard points that you would already get from crafting those uncommons. So that's pretty juicy, definitely worth doing, especially if you already have some of those items kicking around, or even still, like, started January 23rd, ending the 28th. If you have enough workshops, you could do this. It's just a matter of, do you have the materials and the big time tokens? So that's a great first event. I'm happy to see these things. I think will keep people on their toes a lot more. All right, so that's pretty much it. But first things first is we're gonna talk about the hourglasses. Hourglass prices are dropping like crazy. And here's some, I wanted to sort of theory craft as to why this might happen with you guys. Might be happening. Hourglass prices, rares are 183, epics are 599, commons are 1230, uncommons are 58. The only things that are like still kind of maintaining their price is legendaries and mythics. Why is that, right? Why is that? Well, if we look and see how many rares are listed for sale right now, or 7,690 items are for sale right now. That is a lot of supply. And if we jump into the game, like, let's look at the uncommons too. We'll just take a look. How many are listed for sale? 10,240. How many commons are listed for sale? 27,200. That's a lot of hourglasses, right? And when we think about the max supply, right, there's 100,000 rares, there's 600,000 commons, there's 200,000 uncommons, right? So tasty prices. I want so badly now the epic hourglass, right? And that's not a bad time to buy, right? But let's think about this for a second. I'm going to jump in the game and we'll look at how much is remaining in the max supply. That's the easiest way I can think of to do it. So let's check this out, guys. We'll go into my metaverse. I'll take a look. When we think about why the prices are falling, there's two reasons. You know how recently Big Time increased the cost it requires for you to unlock all your hourglass slots? You know, they did that for a reason, because people were trying to mess with the system, right? They were botting, they were multi-accounting, and so there was all these people who had multiple accounts, and they were like, I assume they had multiple accounts, and they were unlocking all the hourglass slots on all these different accounts, and it was just cheap enough to just keep making new accounts and doing that. And the result was, though, that the demand for hourglasses would have been inflated, right? Because you need hourglasses on every single account. So say one person has 5 accounts and you need rares on every single account, that's a lot more demand, right? Instantly. But when Big Time curbed that by increasing the cost of hourglasses, what it did was it basically killed that market, right? It destroyed all these people who were essentially just botting not only the market, but, you know, the game and having all these accounts. So we saw that sort of fall away. And another reason why is that now there's all the supply. People are crafting more and more and more hourglasses. Like, so it's not like they're stopping, but most people have common, uncommon, and rare time wardens, right? And maybe epic. Let's look at how many hourglasses are left to craft, right? If I could zoom in here, I'd show you guys, but let's see. Okay, so there are 8,000 epics crafted right now. There are just under 10,000 rares crafted right now, and 7,000 of them are on the market. That means only like 3,000 rare hourglasses are actually being used in game right now. So supply and demand. There's not enough people using hourglasses. A lot of people are selling them. Same thing with, you know, uncommons. There are 188,398 left. So there's only like just over 1,000, like 1,500 uncommon hourglasses being used in the game. The rest are just people who are trying to sell them. So my point, guys, is that hourglass prices have been very inflated up until this point, but there's 2 factors. One is Big Time cracking down on people trying to multi-count and game the system. And 2, just increased supply. More people are crafting hourglasses than there are people. So expect to see the hourglass prices continue to go down. It's just my opinion, not financial advice, but I can't see these things retaining value. The token price will definitely be related to demand, but it's not going to affect supply really. So supply is going to continue to increase. Right now, it's completely outpacing the demand, and it's outpacing the amount of daily active users we have. So we are going to see the hourglass prices continue to go down. Final thing. This is the one thing I can talk about with the new leaderboard, because this is some details that they've leaked on Twitter. This is a Twitter post. They said, get ready, bonus rolls will arrive for portals in 0.29. So the upcoming update should be coming quite soon, and they teased this. I kind of knew that this was going to be how the prestige portals were going to work for a while now, that we'd be able to see kind of different multipliers being put on the dungeons. I just didn't know that we'd be able to roll for it ourselves. So we see an interesting looking kind of mod chip here. Is it going to be the same mod chips as what we are used to using? But yeah, leaderboard or update 0.29, guys, this is going to be pretty exciting. Being able to use mod chips to roll modifiers on dungeons. What I'm curious about is this player specific, or does this affect the dungeon for everybody? And if that's the case, who rolls on the dungeon? And does everybody roll, or does just one person roll? So there's some questions here that need to be answered. But we have some inherent bonuses that's cool. Inherent curses, monster health up by 2, things like that. That's kind of, you know, a mixed bag, but you seeing a big time modifier on there, that's huge, right? Because we've all been talking about how we're not earning enough big time tokens in our dungeons. This could be the solution to that. Time crystals, cosmetic weapon drops, things like that. Right? This is huge. Really excited about that. We'll see how it works out, but that's it for What's New Wednesday. Thank you everybody for being here and being patient while we go through everything. And if you're watching this in the future, make sure you throw down a like, follow, subscribe, share, tell your mom, do all that fun stuff. And yeah, I will see you guys next week.